So we'll just start by saying I want to thank Chandler, but he's gone already, so that's all right because I've already thanked him. He and Brad do a fantastic job of putting on these expos, wouldn't you say? And they're very selective of who they choose to be here. They don't just fill the spots. So I like that about them. They have their values aligned with their business, and and it's a full house. And so it's wonderful that I get to be part of this and really appreciate. I haven't done an expo for a very long time, so I'm a little out of practice of my booth. So please come over and tell me you love it. Anyhow, so welcome. And I would just like to say that tonight what we're going to be doing is an actual example, an experience of inner resonance technologies. And so why the technologies part is because we are a human supercomputer. And we have programs, whether or not you use computers or you have one. Most people do these days. However, we have all of this technology. We are a supercomputer. We have 100 trillion cells of intelligence that know exactly what to do. And then here we are at the conscious level trying to figure it out, It doesn't work that way because guess what? I have big news for everybody. You ready? You're all out of your minds. But I'm out of my mind too. We're all out of our minds because our mind is in the field all around us. That's what they finally figured out. So we truly are like a communication device, receiving the signals like a TV and then playing out what's in our field. And we know that we have patterns that get created, and oops, there I go again, Oh, that was my mother's voice, and I swore I'd never say that or I'd never do that. So we have all these patterns, and why do we have these patterns? We have these patterns because the unresolved issues that we put away still talk. And they still have a life of their own. And so they kind of drag us around and, we're like puppets to our old programs and our old unresolved issues. And so what inner resonance allows you to do is activate that part of you that knows what those programs are. And we sure don't know up here, otherwise we would have been a lot happier a lot longer ago. And so there's a part of you that does know already what's in your way, what you don't need, what's no longer relevant at this time and place. And because it bumps it up into the superconscious, our spiritual selves, then we don't need to know anything, we don't need to believe anything, we don't need to re-experience anything, because all this information is in patterns of energy, of information in your field. And so what's great, because up until now, until fairly recently, we've had to go and drag ourselves, through the keyhole backwards, in a very uncomfortable reliving, re-experiencing, trying to figure it all out and layering things off. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's value. You learn a lot in that process. However, what IRT allows us to do is to automatically allow our superconscious super duper defrag antiviral program to kick in. And while that's happening, like any good computer, what happens when you press that defrag button and you click on the icon for that program? What happens? What do you have to do at that point? Anything? No. The computer's programmed to do it. Well, we have 100 trillion cells of positive programs that know what to do for us. So if you want to use 2 or 3 cells, or you do want to use 100 trillion, it's up to you. So this allows us to use all of who we are and put everything into that place of clearing and neutralizing our field, which is all entangled at the quantum spiritual level. Everything's connected with everything else. So what I normally do is tell people what the protocol is and then take you through it so that you can consciously engage with it, just so you know what's coming. But who's up to be surprised tonight? Would that be okay? We only have a half hour and 20 minutes probably. And so I'd just like to give you an actual experience of it. And then if you're intrigued and interested in what happens, come and talk to me. I'm doing a workshop next weekend. There's a draw for a private session, a free session. And when you go to my website, website, there's a button for a complimentary session anyway, just a short half hour. But the draw is for a full, 1 to 2 hour session. And it's transformative. And it's easy, it's effortless. Because, as I say, it doesn't happen here, it doesn't happen here, it happens there where it came from. And so we don't need to keep reliving and reactivating and getting triggered on old stuff that really has nothing to do with this moment, okay? All right, so is everybody breathing? Hey, you're doing the first step, hooray. That's how hard it gets. So, but just be present. Be present with your breath and just notice your breath. And just notice where your breath moves you in and out and up and down. And know that that is what you know is the breath of life. And it's the breath that connects us into that greater reality. We're breathing in our spirit, our portion of universal intelligence. How cool is that? So we're full of ourselves. We're full of the universe. And it's all with every breath. And with every breath, too, we're reminding ourselves who we are as spiritual beings in this body as part of the oneness. And so you get a chance just to say yes and thank you to all that's there to support you, whatever you personally believe, angels, spirit helpers, your own higher self. You could be atheistic, agnostic, and you could call on Jiminy Cricket. But your higher self, that part of you that knows, is basically what you're saying yes and thank you to. So just take a moment and within yourself, just say those words, yes and thank you, as you're breathing your greater self into your body. And the next step is that you're breathing into your body. And because your body is that place where it all gets to be experienced. And your body has programs and all kinds of things. Your body is connected like a dowsing tool, like an ultimate dowsing tool, to all the information from all times and all places. And so guess what happens when we get stressed and we get angry or we get upset about something? Does anybody ever kind of get a little contracted, right? We go to get a massage and go to the chiropractor and go. But if we are this bag of bones, here's the bones, and here's the elastic called stress, that gets released a little bit and eased out with massage and chiropractor and, good things that are healthy for us. However, if you still have that charged up, unresolved information in your field, what's going to happen, right? A few days later. Okay, so what we're doing is switching on the body, and the body has access to all that information, knows what it is, and it's got the programs to know how to process it all. And then, guess what? Your body is an instant responder to infinite consciousness. It doesn't feel like that, and it's happening all the time. But to be in conscious command, that would be awesome, where you get triggered, and not only the moment of whatever triggered you, but everything else from all times and places are going to get resolved along with that. So let's just switch on our bodies. Everybody up for that? And the operative words are switch on body, to open up all the programs, turn on the pathways that have been a little bit crunched. Okay, I'm going to count to 3, and the people that feel confident or comfortable saying that out loud, you're welcome to join me. 1, 2, 3. Switch on, body. Cool. So you're plugged into Source, you switched on your machine, and now you get to sit at the keyboard. Hey, I'm in command. I am the commander of my personal universe. And so I choose to be free. I choose to be free of any unnecessary stress, any old programs, anything that's bugging me, causing me to react out of my choice, out of my conscious choice. And so allowing yourself to then, you can sit at your keyboard and say, all right, all programs, all pain, all stress, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, nobody has those, relationships, everything's relationship. So it addresses all of who we are on all levels of memory. And all levels of memory are your whole life, going back to when you popped into the world, all the time you swam around inside, right, to when you were conceived. All of the generational memory of your ancestors, because guess what? That's all in your field. And as Bruce Lipton tells us, who endorses this work, by the way, and has endorsed the front of my book, Your Magical Evolutionary Code Unleashed, The Science of Inner Resonance, You can find that on my website, MaureenEdwardson.com, and you can download it there. So, you know, all this information in between, you're already processing. See, it's effortless. You don't have to be conscious. It doesn't happen at the conscious level, because conscious level is 5%. We know this, right? You've heard this? 5% of our overall awareness is conscious. And did you know that of that 5% that we're consciously aware of, 99.9% is looping up from the old programs? Oh my word, so what am I going to do? What happens is then that's 0.1% of the infinite, so it's not as bad as what it seems. And then all the programs aren't bad, are they? So it's not such a dire, statement after all. And there is hope, and there are ways that you already know of how to clear what's not relevant or useful to you. Okay, and so plugged into source, switched on the machine. And now, sitting at the keyboard, take a moment just to reflect if there's something that you would like to feel better about. Anything just in your mind? Everything will get addressed. So we don't have as much time tonight, so we're just going to do this fairly briefly. Choose one thing, perhaps, and everything else will piggyback on that. So as you choose whatever it is that's been bothering you, or that seems to nag at you, or appears to be chronic, just allow that whatever that's about in all issues that no longer serve any useful, positive purpose for you, on all aspects of who you are, can be addressed and simultaneously shifted, because they're all connected. So breathing in yourself and saying yes and thank you to Spirit and the higher part that knows everything, switching on your machine, switch on body, sitting at your keyboard and choosing, as you're doing now, what's no longer relevant or something that you would like to be free of. That's a good place to start. Most of us have something like that. And then all issues, known and unknown, that no longer serve any useful, positive, relevant purpose, to say yes to that being included here tonight. And then we include all those levels of memory we talked about, your whole life going back, all of your generational memory, all the branches of all the family trees, all your soul memory. It's all here now in that quantum place where everything exists simultaneously, so it's all accessible. And then we're breathing, right? That's how we started. Particles of recycled air, atmosphere that contains the memory of the whole planet from the beginning of time. And how all that can affect us and limit us. All that's getting included here tonight. It's limitless. And so then we're also allowing all aspects of who we are and allowing all our multidimensional selves to be coherently realigned around the greatest, most authentic self, full of love. That's who we are as spiritual beings, free of judgments that are not helpful or useful, free of stuff that is no longer needed. And so then we go into agreements because, whoa, that's a lot you're asking for here tonight. Everything, all issues, known and unknown, from all times and places, on all levels of memory, all your ancestral, all your soul memory, here now? Whoa, what's going to happen? All right. So the first agreement that you make with your own self and your own spiritual higher self and higher consciousness is, and just nod your heads because all the answers are yes, okay? Yes is the only right answer. And so the first agreement, would it be okay, are you choosing to allow only what is the safest and most appropriate for you and all concerned at all times? Okay, excellent. And are you choosing to allow this all to happen in a safer, rather an easier and gentler way than what we're ever used to? We sure know about the struggle, don't we? So we're opening to easy and gentle. And the next one is a little tricky, effortless grace, to allow instant and permanent, whoa, instant and permanent with effortless grace of what's no longer useful or relevant to this moment. Yes, good answer. And so then allowing the part of you that is open to just trusting that everything is unfolding in its own time and way, to give that, more space, knowing that the time and the way of unfolding does come to us. And you will have, at the end of this talk, another tool to be able to work with yourself on a daily basis with a simple touch and a breath. And so what's happening is that now you're allowing that part of you that knows how to allow to go in and play in that great mystery. That great mystery where it all happens. Beyond your conscious mind's need to know anything, no re-experience of anything needed. The body doesn't need to act anything out because we're working in the field from which it's all coming from, that memory storage. And so while all this is happening, you just get to have a nap. Or maybe you just want to imagine being somewhere peaceful or a happy place. I know some of you in this room and you have lots of happy places. But there's nothing to think about, there's nothing to do. Everything to allow. In that place where there is no time, where there is no space, where everything's doing this super duper defrag antiviral program beyond your conscious awareness. As you enjoy your experience in your supercomputer, just relaxing, just allowing, and being present. Nothing to do. Everything to allow. And just paying attention to your breath, breathing in and out of your heart center. Center of your personal universe is your heart. So we're breathing in and out of our heart center with greater relaxation, greater sense of peace, hopefully. Well-being in the body, it can happen that fast. And you might want to reflect on thoughts of gratitude, something that brings you joy or love, if you'd like. It's a nice chemistry to mix in there. So that becomes your chemistry of wholeness, in your frequency of greater freedom to be more of yourself than ever before. As I said, sitting in the center of your heart, breathing 360 in that clear space now, free of static, free of blocks that are no longer relevant. Connected in to more of who you truly are, that peaceful, loving, compassionate self that knows how to just to be and then be inspired and then have everything you could possibly dream of because it's already waiting. It already knows where you live. Just clearing everything in between that's blocking you. So as you breathe in and out, just notice where your hands are touching, maybe your tongue on the roof of your mouth, because we're going to program in a switch of the chemistry of wholeness, frequency of freedom, so that every day you can just do one breath and one touch and reactivate this chemistry and this frequency to then go to work for you and shift whatever wasn't ready today, whatever's been going on in the meantime. So I'm going to invite you just to notice a touch somewhere. You can choose one. Doesn't matter where, body's holographic. And as you're noticing the touch, at the same time you're noticing your breath in and out of your heart center with thoughts of gratitude and peacefulness. And the relaxation that is the natural outcome. All those things are marinating together, and your brain is creating a switch. Neurons that wire together, fire together, wire together. And so as you're just marinating nicely with that breath, with your touch, with your thoughts of loving kindness and relaxation in your body. We're allowing all levels of consciousness to notice and to use this spot and your breath. So I'm going to invite you into 5 deeper breaths that when you breathe out, you're letting go of your breath, letting go of your touch, and then the next inward breath, you're touching again wherever you're choosing, right? So choose your spot. Okay. And we'll do the first 2 collectively, and then the last 3, just allow you your own rhythm and your own time in that, okay? So, got your touch? Okay, a nice deep breath in. And breathing out, letting go of your touch. Breathing in and touching. Breathing out, letting go. 3 more times in your own rhythm. And a good way to use this tool, this access point, a touch and a breath, that's end result chemistry, by the way. People meditate to get into that place, and it's the end result that you have programmed, like a pill of consciousness, and that flicks that switch in the brain, and your body floods with the chemistry needed to feel better and to heal yourself at a very rapid rate. It's realigning with your core self, your most authentic self. And it's activating the part of you that just knows how to listen, how to show up, how to say yes to life in the best ways. And so another way to use this touch breath is at night before you sleep, because that's when your body's doing 30 million cells of rejuvenation. We do with them all through the day, 30 million cells every day, but mostly at night when we're at rest. And that, dream time sorts things through our psyche. And then, of course, in the morning, you want to activate that program to kind of run in your background as you go through your day and keep stuff cool. And then when you get life happening, and it just activates that chemistry. It shifts whatever was underneath that trigger. It doesn't just bring you into the moment with that particular presenting issue that got triggered. It handles all issues from all sources, all times and places, simultaneously for what's ready in that moment. And you may not need to know what that is. And if you do need to know, you'll get the insight, you'll get the inspiration. You never lose anything except the part that blocks you. And then you're in that open space where all possibilities can find you and you can be inspired. Another way to add into the strength of that, because it's, it's a chemical loop in your brain, and you want to be doing that faithfully even if you don't feel like anything's happening, try it, you might like it, twice a day for, 2 or 3 weeks, a month or whatever, and you'll just notice what's happening for you. It's so effortless. It's one thing when we get the physical healing really like a miracle. Like people have healed broken bones in 15 minutes doing this protocol. That's what most people would call a miracle. But we've got the program. We're beyond time. It's this body, and the body is an instant responder to infinite potential. So it's just about bringing those together, and that's what's embodied in your touch breath. And so as you go through your days, or you're on holiday, or you're just looking at a beautiful sunset, or you get a great hug. I've had some really great hugs here, thank you. And add the feeling of that into your touch breath. So you're building on the power of it all the time. And the strength of the alignment of who you truly are gets stronger and stronger. So is there any feedback? Anybody wants to share anything? You don't need to, but if anyone has, something before and after that you do feel like sharing, maybe what I'll do, and I won't pick on anybody, you don't have to ever talk. You don't have to share anything in this work. I love it. But does anybody feel different than they did before? Okay. And you'll also find that through the next few days, things will pop in, things will happen in a different way. It's very organic. It's kind of like waking up in the morning and saying, I don't have the flu today. You might not notice, but that becomes your new norm of feeling happier, just that level of, feeling good and feeling more open and more inspired. And so you're just becoming more of you all the time. And so it's very simple, but it's really powerful and elegant. And that's what they say the most powerful things are, the simpler the access, the more that's already programmed. So how complex are we? So we don't have to figure it out. We can just allow and do your touch breath every day. And if you're curious about having private sessions, because that's really, pretty transformational, I offer a package of 5 sessions to people. 1 session sometimes is awesome, but 5 because the first time and why 5 breaths to reprogram? Because the first time we get something different and new, subconscious is designed to protect the status quo. Yep, I got it handled, right? Oh, wow, this is pretty cool. I wonder how long this is going to last. We're not used to that. So, it's a little cautious, even though it could be really fabulous what happens. And so then the second and third time, the information gets received and acknowledged on the logical and the emotional sides of the brain. And the fourth is greater integration and acceptance. And 5 is the number of positive change. And then when you think you've got your square, a good foundation, right? A square is a good solid number to build on. Then you have 5, it takes it off the charts into a different dimension, equilateral triangle, sacred geometry. And believe it or not, I'll be 69 you might believe that part, in July, but believe it or not, I hadn't ever heard that 5 is the number of grace. Isn't that beautiful? And so if you're interested in exploring this technique, and I'm running a couple of workshops, happens to be, I've had them set for quite a long time before I booked on to be here, but February 10th and 11th for level 1 personal clearing, 2 days, a full weekend, and the next level 2 for introduction to facilitation for if you want to start helping your friends and family or just want more clearing. That's going to be the 24th and 25th of February. But my workshop my workshops are really fun. They're really simple, and you get to practice. It's very experiential and shapeshift a lot of stuff in your life in a very easy and fun way. And so there's a draw at booth set 107 for a private session. I think some of you have filled that out already. But know too that beyond that, that's a full-on session, up to a couple of hours. We just keep going, in whatever way it is you need until you say you're complete. So I never book back-to-back sessions. They're always wide open. And but if you go to my website, MaureenEdwardson.com, then right on the front page is book your complimentary discovery session. And I usually take people, through an experience when they take that trouble to find out more about what this is. Because I can talk a lot about it. I love talking. I don't know if you noticed, and I've studied a lot of science and studied a lot with Bruce Lipton over the many years, which is, he endorses my work because inner resonance, IRT, is a practical application of his science. And I have, 3 times gone through the delegate program with Nassim Haramein of the Resonance Academy, the Resonance Project. And so these are deeply embedded concepts that are spiritual. And what I love about Nassim Haramein's unified field theory is that mathematically he has proven and shown that the biological cell is the center of the universe. It's the crossover point between the infinitely large Newtonian world and the infinitely small quantum. And we are it. We are it. I wanted to call my work many, many years ago Inner Technologies, but that was like IT, and nobody, that was only computers in those days, right? I've been doing this for 25 years, if you can believe it. And so IT, because I wanted to say, this is it, But the piece that, IRT allows in the bigger picture of all the modalities, all of the different techniques out there, is that it allows you to be clear of the resistance that's been holding you back that you don't have any idea to figure out how and why. And then you go to different other practitioners and different techniques, and you have full receptivity for how that can help you. And it's faster, it's smoother, there's no healing crisis. And then you do your touch breath before and after, whatever the modality is. So if you're taking part in all the different demos and sessions here, it's wonderful people here, wonderful techniques here. This is the piece. Do your touch breath before and after that you're doing that work with them, and you notice how smooth it is, how much more effective it is for you, and it's pretty cool. It works together. It's a standalone system, but it plays really well with others. So, any questions? Knocked you all out. I used to do, well, I've been teaching for so many years, but there were a lot of hypnotherapists that came through my training for a couple of years, and they thought actually this work should be part of the curriculum for the hypnotherapy certifications, but that never happened for whatever reason. But they said, wow, you talk so fast. And if I slow it down, I kind of lose my train of thought, And so I just, it's all firing. And they said, yeah, but you talk so fast, but you pull everything together in the end, and we all get it because you put us in a trance state. But that's not my intention. Yeah, I don't do anything to you or for you with this work, which is why I really love it, because, I developed the protocol, yes. I have a lot of training that knows how to work with energy and be a healer, but that's not my role. And I step so far back from that, so I allow the protocol to do the work. Everything's embodied in there, which is why the practitioner training is so easy, because you can't do it wrong. You can't do it wrong. And I provide a template, a conversation that people just practice back and forth. And so there'll be another couple of workshops at the beginning of May, if this is a little bit soon for you. But if you are aligned and you are able and you are available, it's a skunkin' deal this weekend at 25-year-old prices. Yeah, for the workshops. Yeah, so come to my table and pick up a flyer and think about it. Feel about it. So thank you so much. Yes.